And I am going to put this in slideshow mode. All right, thank you, Jackie. Really appreciate you having me on today. I want to thank the team at SCORE for allowing me to be a part of this presentation. And of course, thank you to everyone who's joining us this afternoon. My name's Daryl Dante, and I work with the U.S. Small Business Administration out of our Sacramento district office. SBA has 68 district offices across the country, and I believe we have 7 in California, just because it is such a huge state. Our Sacramento district office, we cover, our territory is the northern inland 21 counties, up north to the Oregon border, down as far south as San Joaquin, and then east to the Nevada line. Our San Francisco district office covers the coastal counties, and then Fresno covers south of San Joaquin. So if you're joining us from the Sacramento area, fantastic. We are a resource here for you. If you're in other areas of the country, perhaps, please do connect with your SBA district office in that area. So at SBA, my title is Lender Relations Specialist. What I do in that role is I work directly with our lenders, whether they're micro lenders, our bank and credit union lenders, and our certified development companies to help them deliver our loan and finance programs out to business owners, business borrowers like yourselves. I do a lot of trainings. I help them structure deals and make sure everything fits within program eligibility. And so, the mission of SBA is to help folks start a business or grow and expand that business. And in the case of our disaster lending, recover from natural disasters like hurricanes, fires, some of the crazy weather we had at the beginning of this year out here. And also, of course, during the pandemic with the PPP program and our COVID EIDL loans. So today, though, what we're going to focus on are SBA's core finance programs and our core business lending programs. And you'll see up on the slide, SBA microloan programs, and then our 7A loan and 504 programs. So let me start with the microloans. SBA micro lenders are typically mission-based lenders, and they are licensed per county that they operate in. The SBA microloan program is loans as little as $500 all the way up to $50,000. And this is a fantastic opportunity, especially for people looking to start up a business. There's a lot of online lenders out there where you can get quick financing, but that comes at a price, and that price is usually very high interest rates, and it makes it incredibly difficult to pay off those loans. So what I would encourage folks to do is, before you look at any kind of an alternatives like that, look at the SBA microloan programs, or some towns and municipalities have their own microloan funds that they work with. So wherever it is that you live, check into that option as well. So the microloan under the SBA program, these are term loans. They go out for 6 years, and they could be used for any legitimate business purpose other than purchasing real estate or refinancing business debt. So as an example, you can use these funds for working capital, to purchase inventory and supplies. Maybe you need furniture and fixtures for a place that you're going to run your business out of, or leasehold improvements to that spot, to purchase machinery and equipment. So, it's a fantastic way to start up a business in terms of the financing side of it. One of the benefits of SBA's microloan program is it comes with technical assistance. So that microloan provider will assist you both pre-loan in helping you get the application done as it's being financed, and then post-loan with anything from helping you set up websites to marketing and social media opportunities to how you manage your books and getting the financials set up. So to me, one of the most valuable aspects of the microloan program is that technical assistance that is offered. Interest rates tend to be between 8 and 13%. And while that might seem a bit high, keep in mind that it's usually a greater credit risk lending to a newer business, and that is significantly below the online lending where you'll see rates 20, 30, 40%, even higher. So please do take a look at this as an alternative. All right, so really the core business lending program is the 7A loan program. This is delivered with our bank and credit union partners. So either the bank or credit union actually makes the loan. And then behind the scenes, SBA offers a guarantee anywhere from 50% to 90%, depending upon the program. And that guarantee is to the lender, not to the borrower. I get a lot of questions. Well, it's a guaranteed loan. If for some reason the business doesn't work out, does that mean that we don't need to pay that loan? And it does not mean that. Remember, this is a loan. Any 20% owner or greater of the business will be required to sign an unlimited personal guarantee backing up this loan. So again, the guarantee is made to the lender. And the reason for that is it helps take some of the risk off the table for that lender, lending to smaller businesses, some of the credit risk and the like. And it's almost like an insurance policy for the lender. If the business were to fail for some reason, what happens is after the liquidation of any collateral, SBA will come in and pay, if there's a 75% guarantee, 75% of the remaining loan balance. So it takes some of the risk off the table for the bank or credit union, and it enables them to get more capital out to more small business owners in the marketplace. And then the next program is the 504 loan program. This is typically a program utilized by more established businesses that might be looking to, they may be leasing space and now they're looking to buy a piece of commercial property and operate their business out of that commercial property location. And so it enables them to purchase that hard asset as well as machinery and equipment and other things needed for that, to run that business. So we'll get into that in a little bit more. I have a good graphic in here that will show you exactly how the program works. But just if I can for a sec, step back to the 7A loans, and this is for 504 as well. They can be used for any legitimate business purpose, inclusive of refinancing business debt and purchasing real estate. And so, that's a fantastic benefit. In terms of if you have some higher interest rate business debt to be able to refinance it into this type of program. One thing to know with both of these programs, there is no 100% financing. So as a business owner, you're going to be asked to inject or put in equity injection or effectively a down payment, a minimum of 10%. We do a lot of business acquisitions where we help business owners buy another business. And depending on the deal, you may be asked to put as much as 20 to 30% up front. So just want you all to be aware of that there really is not a 100% financing option. You need to be able to put in some funds to finance that business. Okay, so just some quick eligibility items for all of those programs. We lend to SBA programs are geared towards for-profit, owner-occupied businesses. We do a lot of work with mission-based or nonprofit lenders, but our loan programs, the way they're written, are geared to for-profit, owner-occupied business. You need to be a U.S. citizen or somebody with verified green card or legal permanent resident status. SBA size standards for small businesses are very, very liberal, so most businesses are going to qualify for that. We, of course, look at anything, similar qualifications that any lenders are going to look at. We want to see owners of good character. And really key is owners that possess strong management ability, industry experience, and if whether they have the experience or they have a team and a partner that has that experience, that's really key in how lenders will evaluate these deals. And SBA lenders are cash flow lenders, right? We certainly will take as much collateral as we can to secure that loan. But the lack of collateral is never a reason for an SBA loan to be declined. That's where that government guarantee comes in. Take some of the risk off the table for those lenders, for those businesses, especially newer businesses. You might not have all the collateral that a lender would typically look at. That's where the guarantee really comes into play. So SBA lenders are looking for revenue from the business as the number one source of repayment. We want to be able to see that a business can cash flow in terms of your assets, liabilities, what your income or revenue is versus what your expenses may be, and that you have enough from revenue coming in to debt service or cover the loan payments, that need to be made on that loan. All right. And, we don't engage or we don't lend to speculative businesses, real estate development, investment businesses alike. As an example, I get a lot of questions that will come in and folks will say, hey, I'm looking at buying an apartment building or an apartment complex and renting that out. And that's going to be a source of business revenue for me. SBA looks at that as an investment or a passive business. So our programs are not geared to lending to that type of business. Certainly there's other financing opportunities out there for that. But again, we're looking for for-profit, owner-occupied, actively managed businesses. That's who we lend to. All right, just a couple of quick benefits to both borrowers, really, and lenders. With the guarantee, part of what it offers, as I mentioned, it allows lenders to remove some of the credit risk, take some of that risk off the table. So it lets them lend to businesses that they might not otherwise lend to on a conventional basis. And for borrowers, it gives you access to capital when a lender would not be able to make a direct loan for various reasons, whether the business is too new or debt service coverage isn't where they want to see it conventionally. That's where that guarantee is a benefit to both the business borrower and the lender. And, improved lending terms. Hey, we're in a rising interest rate environment. Prime is up over 100% in the last year. I believe current prime rate is right around 7.5%. We were looking at the low threes a year ago. So significantly rising interest rates. One of the benefits of SBA programs is most SBA loans are a variable rate based on prime plus a certain spread over prime, anywhere typically up to 2.75%. But it puts a cap for borrowers on how much that rate can vary. So as prime goes up, certainly the base payments are going to go up. But because you have that interest rate cap, and I'll show you on a different slide, actually in a rising rate environment, SBA programs are more heavily utilized by lenders for just that reason. It helps in terms of smaller businesses being able to cash flow and cover the loan payments. All right, so I mentioned both the 7A and 504 are our guaranteed loan programs. The guarantees are back to the lender. And of course, there are guarantee fees associated with that. And I'll show you that on the next slide, but it's stratified based on loan size. And, of course, the 7A loans and 504 go up to $5 million. That's the max under those loan programs. As the loan amount increases, the guarantee fees are, of course, higher. One of the benefits is that the fees charged to the lender passed on to the borrower. You can pay that fee right up front, or if it's going to cause cash flow problems, we offer the ability to refinance those fees into the loan amount and spread the payment out for those over the course of the loan. So that's a significant benefit for smaller business borrowers. All right, this next slide, it's a great snapshot of the 7A loan guarantee program. And I've covered some of this. We have maximum loan amount up to $5 million. And the guarantees, depending on the program, really go from 50% to 90% on our export finance. But for the standard 7A loan program, it's an 85% guarantee to the lender on loans up to 150,000. And then for loans from 150 up to 5 million, it's a 75% guarantee. In this middle column here, you'll see this is what I was talking about, and this is what helps folks in a rising interest rate environment. Most SBA loans are variable rate based on prime plus a spread, depending upon the credit risk and the experience of the management team and a host of other factors. This is where you as a borrower can negotiate with those lenders. And you'll see there's a cap, typically up to 2.75% of spread over prime. So again, that helps in a rising interest rate environment. 7A loans for working capital loans, purchase of machinery or equipment, typically range from 5 to 10 years in maturity. Depending upon the useful life of equipment, we could go out as far as 15 years there. This is a great benefit for real estate purchases, both under 7A and 504. We can go out as far as 25 years. And that is, that's nice in terms of being able to spread out the debt service coverage over that time period. You'll see in the last column or the far right column, the guarantee fees. And I said it's stratified based upon loan size. So a huge benefit this year. Our fiscal year runs from October 1st of 2022 through November 30th of 2023. For fiscal year 23, that's what we're in now, any 7A loan under 500,000, the guarantee fee is set at 0. And that's a massive, massive benefit for business owners. We have a program called SBA Express, which is a subset of the 7A loan guarantee program. And that's often used as a revolving line of credit. And for veteran business owners, if you're utilizing the SBA Express program, the guarantee fee is up to 500,000 is set at 0. And that's moving forward in perpetuity. You'll see then for loans from 500 to 700, there's 55 basis point of the guaranteed portion, and then on and up to $5 million. So, once you're up above $1 million, the guarantee fees can become a bit more substantial. And this is where the ability to roll those into the loan and finance it that way is a nice benefit for business borrowers. All right, so the 504 loan program, as I mentioned up front, this is typically utilized by more established businesses looking to, replace rent with building business equity in a commercial property that they're going to run their business out of. It can be used for newer businesses, but usually not. This is a partnership between a bank lender, a certified development company, and then you as the business borrower. So I'll give an example. Say we have $1 million deal. The bank lender will typically lend up to 50% of that amount, or in this case, $500,000. The CDC will raise usually 40% through a guaranteed debenture offering. They put the offering out in the marketplace and raise the funds. And then in many cases, the business borrower can get in great fixed rate financing for as little as 10% down or 10% equity injection. There are cases, if it's a newer business, that injection may go to 15%, And if it's a special purpose property like a car wash or something along those lines where specialized equipment is required, there may be another 5%, so up to a 20% injection. But in many cases, you can get in for as little as 10% up front. So again, this is long-term financing for major fixed assets like real estate and equipment. In some cases, if there's certain green energy features to the deal, the loan can go up to $5.5 million most cases, we're at a $5 million cap. All right. So moving forward, just a brief note, we do a lot of work with businesses, typically more established, that are looking to bid on federal contracts. The U.S. government is the largest purchaser of goods and services in the world, and it can often be a fantastic revenue opportunity for businesses that are ready for that. So if you'll see down below the link, sba.gov/contracting. Take a look at that, and it'll give you an idea for some of the services we provide to businesses looking to break into the federal contracting market through our 8A program. Businesses that are located in hub zones get the opportunity to be trained on how to bid on federal contracts. And again, it can be a great opportunity for businesses that are ready to take advantage of something like that. All right. So our partner network, and for my portion of the presentation, this to me is always one of the most important slides, because whether you're looking at starting a business and working with the fantastic counselors at SCORE, or more established and maybe looking at expanding your business, you do not have to do this alone. We've got a team of partners that works with SBA, and they do a fantastic job in guiding you step by step through every process of starting a business, writing a business plan, getting ready to ask for financing, and getting the books ready and the like. So number one, starting with SCORE, they've got a great network of consultants on a nationwide basis, and a lot of these folks are former business owners or retired very senior executives. You'll be matched up with one of their counselors, and they can walk you through from the idea phase to begin to put things in concrete steps to building that business. We also have our small business development centers, our women's business centers, and for veterans out there in California, we have the Northern California Veterans Business Outreach Center, as well as the Southern California Veterans Business Outreach Center, who work directly with veterans looking to start and or grow a business. So again, take a look at sba.gov/local assistance. And wherever you are in the country, you'll be able to locate not only SBA district offices, but all of our SBA resource partner network. And again, it's our job to help you. You don't have to do this alone. Take advantage of it, because all of these groups provide fantastic services. All right, so here is just some contact information. If there's anyone on the line that has an SBA disaster loan or got a COVID EIDL loan, those were given during the pandemic. Here's the customer service number, 833-853-5638. Or you can email disaster customer service at sba.gov. And most folks out in this area of the country, if you do have one of these loans, it's being serviced out of our El Paso Disaster Service Center. There you'll see the email and the contact info for those folks. The Sacramento District Office, our main number is 916-735-1700. And here you'll see my email address. I'm certainly available, Jackie, to stay on if there's any questions currently. And if you don't have questions now, but as often happens, you think of things afterwards, please feel free to email me. More than happy to talk to you more about what SBA offers in terms of our loan programs.
I'll just take a minute. Does anybody have a question they'd like to put in the Q&A before Daryl leaves us? I don't see anything popping up. Daryl, thank you very much for your information. Very helpful to small business owners.
My pleasure, Jackie. Thank you again, and the team at SCORE for having me on. And again, thanks for everybody who's on the line. And if questions pop up, please feel free to email me. All right, so enjoy the rest of the webinar. I know Jackie has some great info for you. Thank you now.
Thank you. My name's Jackie McQueen, and I am co-chair of the Capital Corridor chapter of SCORE. I want to repeat that you have registered for this. You will receive a recording of this session, the entire session, and it will include all of the slides that you see from both presenters. And so I'm going to try and take you through some information today. We're going to be talking about how you use supervision and management of employees within your business. So I'm going to start out with a screen share. And it's going to take a minute here for me to, there we go. Sorry, I'm looking, there is supposed to be a setting here that will switch the slides from my other screen, but I'm not seeing it. So I'm going to not waste any more time. I think we'll have a little time at the end for questions, but I would rather not stop in the middle to answer questions. So if you have questions, just put it in the Q&A box and I'll take a look at it. We are talking today about managing employee behavior. And I think that's a particular challenge for most employers. It's a challenge often because we only think of managing employee behavior as dealing with problem employees. The fact is you have issues of managing employee behavior for all of your employees, those that just perform routinely, those who report, who are outstanding performers, and those who have problems. I think it's difficult to sit down and talk to somebody about their performance, whether it's average or whether it's good, but it is an important aspect of managing a business. Discipline is especially hard in a small business, and here's some of the reasons. When small businesses start, they often start by employing friends or family. So that makes the relationship both a personal relationship and a working relationship. Another issue is that in small businesses, everybody seems to be working together and everybody seems to know everybody and everything that is happening. So it's hard to maintain confidentiality, and it's hard to raise issues that may cause people to be upset or angry and not have everybody in the workplace know that. The final point that I have here is that in a small business, close contact generally cannot be avoided. So whatever happens in your process of managing employee behavior is probably going to impact your business going forward. Here's some of the reasons why it's important to manage behavior. And we're going to be talking in a minute about the difference between conduct and performance, because those are two major aspects of behavior. Your customers will receive the goods and services that they expect without problems, and it will be a better place to work for your employees. You're going to encourage better performance and conduct by recognizing positive aspects of employee behavior. Sometimes you help an employee grow in ways that will enhance his career or her career movement, and you by recognizing good behavior and dealing with bad behavior, you help people who are on the right track keep going, and those who have issues to change their performance. And both of those things will be factors in their future in the business world. You also reduce the stress for yourself and possibly the co-workers of the employee with the problem. I think that's particularly important in a small business. You can maintain a work environment that's satisfactory both for you and your employees. And I would add and your clients or customers. Because nothing turns a customer off more than have bickering or something going on that's negative between a couple of the employees of the business. Finally, you legally shield yourself from litigation if you deal with small problems before they become big ones. My training is as an attorney, and I often hear from business owners that they want me to help them so that they won't be sued. The fact of the matter is anybody can sue anybody on any day for anything. The trick is to be able to respond back to whatever is claimed and close it down as quickly as possible. So that's part of what addressing conduct and performance concerns can help you do. Managing employee conduct starts before, and performance starts before you even hire somebody. It's important to have a written position description, which spells out the essential elements of the position. And that wording is very particular. Essential elements are those elements which, if they are not performed, means that the position is failing. Becomes incredibly important if you're dealing with someone with a disability and you need to do accommodation, because you cannot have a person who cannot perform the essential elements in the job. If they cannot perform other elements of the job, you may have to work around that if there's a disability reason to do so. Developing a good position description requires that it's detailed and accurate, and you should go over it and review your position descriptions periodically, both while you have somebody who's staying in a position and certainly at the point where you're going to go back out to recruit a replacement. You need to use your position description as a guide for your interview process. If you go back to the things that you've articulated in your description as essential elements, and you have questions designed to determine the ability of the person to perform those elements, it will help you make the better decision about hiring. The third thing that is important about this is that clear communication of what is acceptable standards and performance can be made through the position description. That's the minimum requirements that you're going to put in there, and there can be requirements that go beyond education and work experience, but talk about performance and conduct standards. You also should, in your hiring process, explain that you use progressive discipline. And we're going to be talking about progressive discipline here today because I think it is a very critical tool for managing effectively the behavior of employees. After you've hired the person, there's additional steps that you should take. You should always begin employment with a formal orientation or onboarding program where you can share the policies and procedures with employees, and particularly highlight those that they are going to be expected to follow. If you have an employee handbook, you can give it out at the orientation program. If you don't, and there are critical performance standards that you're going to want the employee to follow, you probably ought to give the employee a written copy of that policy or procedure. You're also able to follow up with frequent communication and regarding conduct and performance. I am very big proponent of using a supervisor's log, and I know many people don't want to do a supervisor's log. They think that it's too much work, it's too hard for them. But a log doesn't have to be a big deal. It can be a notebook with a few handwritten notes. It can be done on the computer and typed up. I would suggest that you make notes about both positive and negative performance issues in your supervisor's log, and note the date and time that those things happen. If you end up in litigation, it will become an important tool for defending the fact that you have taken the correct actions that you should. An effective evaluation program also will support your management efforts. And people often fall into, well, I'm not going to do an evaluation because we all work together every day and we know what's going on. You should periodically sit down with your employees and talk about how work is doing. If everything's going fine, is there something they would like to learn that would help them? Do they have suggestions to make your business run more smoothly? All of those kinds of things can be exchanged in an effective evaluation program. If you do all of these critical steps, you're going to have accurate and timely documentation of conduct and performance issues, which is absolutely critical if you get into a litigation situation. I said earlier, we're going to talk about the difference between conduct and performance. And this slide reflects the negative nature of an issue, tardiness as opposed to always being to work on time, absenteeism as opposed to regular attendance, argumentative or belligerent behavior, violent actions, and illegal actions are all conduct issues. They are not related to the specific performance of the job tasks. Those issues fall under the performance aspect of evaluation. And those include failure to make deadlines, poor quality work, lost work, failure to comply with requirements that are outlined in the position description. The elements of effective management communication, which is a critical part of your evaluation system, we're going to go through those. This is a very high level talk. We only have about 30 minutes to get through this material. So we're not going into a lot of detail, but effective communication with employees should be frequent, as frequent as possible. And that includes both good and bad communication. It should be conducted in private, particularly if you're discussing a performance problem. That's sometimes a challenge in small businesses, but it's absolutely critical that you do any corrective action in private with the employee who's involved and perhaps a supervisor or another employee who's involved in the same situation. Communication should focus on both positive and negative aspects of employment. Communication always should be documented, and we'll talk about that a little more later. But it should be documented, reduced to writing, and signed by the employee. And by signed by the employee, I generally ask the employee to sign and date the document. If you get an employee who refuses to sign an evaluation or a disciplinary action, on the bottom of the communication, you write that they were offered the opportunity to sign on X date at Y time and declined to do so. And that documentation will be helpful to you in the future. Also, communication with employees should stipulate aspects of discipline that are involved. If there are problems, you need to be very clear and specific about spelling out exactly what it is that you are trying to get the employee to pay attention to. Managing the average employee is something we don't often think about, but recognizing good standard performance is very important. It keeps people going because they know they're on the right track. Just thank employees for a job well done. And I've had employers say to me, well, I thank them with the paycheck. Well, the paycheck does one thing, but saying thank you has quite a different impact, and it's generally more motivating for employees. You should conduct frequent evaluation sessions which include goal setting for the next evaluation period and growth opportunities. This is your chance to have an exchange of information with the employee, and you find out there are things that they would like to be doing that they don't have the experience, and you have the opportunity to train them and let them do things that are beyond their current position. You also define how quickly you're going to do another evaluation session, and if there are any goals for growth or change that you want to see, that should be spelled out in the management document for the standard employee. So hopefully you also have some outstanding employees. And I think we emphasize the importance of outstanding employees. You need to recognize individual actions that demonstrate excellence. And there are formal ways you can do that. There are funny, sort of silly ways that you can do that. I have been in organizations where employees were given a candy bar, a payday candy bar, if they did something excellent, or some kind of a pin or recognition that they're doing a job beyond what is required. You should openly commend excellence, and you should conduct frequent evaluation sessions, and these again should include goals for the next evaluation period and growth opportunities. And with your outstanding employees, the opportunity to help them with training or new experiences is one way that you can keep them with your company and not have them go away because they're bored with the things that they're doing, and they do it at an above standard way. When we talk about management of negative behavior, negative employee behavior, there are a couple of things that you should think about. You should remember always the objective of discipline is to correct the problem and make the future working relationship productive. You've spent a lot of money to recruit somebody, hire them, maybe you've done training. It's counterproductive if you have to move them out of your business if you haven't made an effort and given them the opportunity to do what it is you want to have done. But if discipline fails to correct the problem, the proper management of the disciplinary process will provide you with a sound foundation that will support termination if that becomes necessary. One of the most important things about managing employee evaluations is that you should address problems immediately. It's not at all unusual, having been an HR director, to have a supervisor come in and say, I need to fire Joe. And I say, well, why do you need to fire Joe? Well, he always comes to work late. Well, how long has he been coming to work late? Well, for the last 6-8 months. What have you done to document that? Often they haven't done anything because we tolerate problems until they get to the point where we're not able to tolerate them. It's much better if you start with dealing with a small problem. The failure to deal with a problem communicates to the person that what they are doing is okay. It condones the problem action. In addition, small problems tend to grow and become big problems. Addressing them early can stop this progression. Addressing problems promptly makes it clear that you have standards and that they are important, and you intend to maintain them in the work environment for all employees. A key element in addressing performance of conduct addressing performance or conduct problems is the use of an incremental discipline system, which has been communicated to the employee. We've talked about the need to let employees know before they come into the job that you are using an incremental discipline system. And there are a variety of steps that are included in an incremental discipline system. Go from a verbal warning to a written warning, a minor punitive action to increased punitive action, a final warning, and dismissal. I'm going to take a little look at each one of these stages. A verbal warning is something that you do very casually often, but you should be doing it in private and not in front of other workers, and you should be documenting it. You document a verbal warning in your supervisor's log. You don't produce a document that goes to the employee, because then it becomes a written warning. And it's usually better if you can stop the problem with a verbal warning. If that doesn't work, you do move on to a written warning. And this can be an email, it can be a memo, it can be a letter, it can be documented in handwriting or printed and be formal. But again, it needs to be documented. It should be signed by the employee and dated, indicating the time that they received the written warning. If written warning is not effective, you're going to want to take some minor punitive action. That might be a day without pay, or it might be taking away some part of the job that the person likes, or asking them to do some things that they don't like. And all of those things can be minor punitive action. You move to increased punitive action whenever you've decided what the punitive action is going to be, whether it's going to be a docking of pay, it's going to be a change in duties, it's going to be a monetary, it's going to be a monetary action. You want to have the minor and the increased punitive action be in the same family. So if you do 1 day without pay as a minor, you might do a week without pay as an increased punitive action. If all of those fail, you want to go to a final warning, and a final warning is a very critical document. It is a document that spells out all the steps you have previously taken to try and address this problem, the time interval that you have allowed the person to try and address the problem, and the fact that you have reached the point where if they continue to have this problem, you will no longer employ them. You should give a person a period of time in which to correct their action. It should be spelled out as 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And the language that you must use is that they have that time to correct, to attain and sustain the acceptable behavior. And it's important to say that because I can tell you, after 30 years in human resource management, it's very common for somebody to get a final warning, clean their act up, and be doing everything fine for a week, a month, maybe a couple of months, and then they fall back into the old pattern. So if you use the language of attain and sustain the acceptable behavior, you're able to move on to dismissal if the person keeps sliding back to the behavior which is not acceptable. Documenting every disciplinary action is absolutely critical. I always told my employees if it wasn't documented, it didn't happen. Even verbal warnings need to be documented. Again, we use the supervisor's log for that. And I repeated this before, it can be in a lot of different forms, but it should always include the date of the discipline, the problem addressed, the necessary correction that you are seeking, and a statement that hopefully the problem will be resolved, but if not, identifying what the next step in the process is. And again, I like you to use it. even throughout the early phases of the evaluation period, use the attain and sustain language so that you don't have people who just correct quickly and then go on with their bad behavior. Incremental discipline is not appropriate in every instance. If you're dealing with violence as the basis of discipline, physical action against any employee or intentional damaging of property or equipment, you have the right to move directly to termination. Again, you use a little common sense. The definition of violence is pretty wide and varies from person to person. But you should understand that an act of violence in the workplace, whether directed against equipment or customers or co-workers, is something that needs to be addressed immediately without going through a long process and a lot of steps. Another time when incremental discipline is not appropriate is when the discipline is based on an illegal action, theft or embezzlement or some other illegal action. Sometimes you suspect illegal action, and the appropriate thing to do is put the person on a leave of absence, sometimes with pay, depending on your circumstances, while you investigate. And then if you determine that the illegal action actually occurred, you terminate the person immediately. It's a lot of things to remember and a lot of stuff that you have to do in managing employee behavior. As Daryl said, you don't have to do this alone. And he mentioned SBDC, the Women's Center, the Veterans Service Center. There are a number of organizations that offer help. SCORE also serves the 21 inland counties in Northern California. We have a core of trained executives who are ready to help you, and they will answer your question and assist you in developing your business plan, or once you got it working, can help you with problems that come up. All of that is provided free of charge. And to get a mentor in the SCORE organization, you visit score.org, click on Find a Mentor. You'll be asked to enter some basic information. It takes less than 5 minutes. It's usually name, phone number, email, and what is the matter that you're asking for support for at that time. Once you have filled that information out and submitted it to the national office, it will be sent to us locally. We'll assign a mentor directly to you. You should be contacted within a day or two after the mentor is assigned, and a time will be arranged that's mutually convenient to work with you in building your business. I wanted to point out to you that we also offer a lot of education programs that are available and very helpful. If you go to Capital Corridor score.org, you will find the local, sessions, webinars, or face-to-face sessions that are going to be offered locally. You can register for them there. As I said, the vast majority of them are free. And you're going to get a calendar for the next month or 6 weeks when you go there. So we hope to see you in future programs. And with that, I am going to end the slide program. And I'm going to stop sharing the screen and see if I have any questions in either the chat or the Q&A. I don't see any. I want to thank you for attending. Again, remind you, you will get an email with the recording and the slides. And we hope this information has been helpful. Thank you. Bye-bye.